What's going on, F1 fans? This is Lights Out F1. My name is Alex. This is my wife, Eileen, and this is the very first podcast of its time for It's Lights Out F1. We are American F1 fans, and we want to share our thoughts, our opinions with you guys. And I just want to take a quick moment to say thank you for watching and thank you for listening to our podcast. If you guys want to comment, ask us questions, do it below. You know what to do. I don't want to waste any more time. I've been so excited for the 2021 season. It's here. We've already watched the first race. Bahrain is over, and that's why you see us here. So, Bahrain.
What a race.
It was a good race.
What a race.
It was action-packed. It was exciting.
Nail-biter.
It wasn't boring. There was a couple restarts, you know.
Very contrasting to the last race of the last season. So.
There was overtakes. There was undertakes because of pit stops. There was a lot of action, you know, even at the end. Max coming back to almost take first and almost had it. It seemed like he kind of pushed those tires very hard at the end and didn't have, I think, maybe 3 more laps. He would have had another shot again to get it, maybe.
Oh, he was close.
He
yeah.
was.
He was very close.
He was close. And that's kind of my first thing. So, the track out of bounds at turn 4, and that's where that happened, that overpass where he quickly at the end there had first place, but then he gave it back to Hamilton because of turn 4. Was it legal? Did you think that turn?
I mean, from my understanding, it was very confusing all weekend for the racers. Like during practice and qualifying, it didn't matter if you went out of bounds. But the piece is that you're not racing. And going into the race, you can't, if you're going to benefit from going out of bounds, then it's illegal. But the issue, you know, playing devil's advocate, is that Lewis and Valtteri were going out on turn 4, and it came up in question. But they weren't going out and passing people.
Right, and it happened during a pass, and that was probably the main rule thing. And you know, and look, at the end of the day, Max gave it back. And there was even.
But should he have just taken the penalty and kept going?
I don't know if there would have been like a 5-second penalty. I mean, he said at the end of the race, you should have just let me have the 5-second penalty. I could have pulled away. And is that being brash, being an A-type personality, saying he could have pulled away from Lewis Hamilton 5 seconds with 5 laps left, 4 laps?
I think it's pushing it, and
he would have had to go a second faster a lap to get that far. I don't know. That seems pretty crazy to me. I think your best case scenario, you wait to a little bit longer to the last turn, so that you're coming out of the straightaway. You give him back the first place, and then you have instant DRS right there.
Well, I think he had to give it back to him right away.
I think he could have pushed it. He could have pushed it.
He would have gotten the penalty. He waited that long.
Maybe he could have pushed it another couple turns. I don't really know. You're right. So then my next question is Valtteri Bottas finishing 3rd, but like over 40 seconds away. Problems with pit stop. And he also stopped again for a pit stop to get a fresh set of tires to run for fastest lap. Do you think he would have been more in the hunt if it wasn't for that one problem, that one pit stop problem that cost him the 10 seconds?
I mean, I definitely think he would have felt more confident, you know, going into it and to compete for the top. But, you know, even prior to that, he was about 16 seconds off. So, you know, yes, he could have made it back. Mercedes struggling, not having another set of medium tires and having to use hard tires, you know, and 2 tire changes. That's a tricky piece, too, that they were challenged with. So, overall, I still think Valtteri did a great job coming in, delivering fastest lap on the last lap, pretty much.
Yeah, and still finishing 3rd.
Still finishing 3rd by far. And he was getting challenged by Norris and Leclerc at the beginning there. So, you know, to see him really deliver, and, you know, P4 was pretty far off from him still. So
yeah, you're right. And still a great drive. P3, lots of points, fastest lap, extra point, puts Mercedes top of the Constructors' Cup, puts Lewis top of the, the Drivers' Cup. So, were they sandbagging in preseason testing?
I don't know. Were they?
I don't know. I guess I don't know enough. I mean, we're here in America. We're watching everything we can watch on YouTube, on F1 TV, on wherever we can get our content.
It's great entertainment on social media see all the sandbagging quotes.
Yeah.
But, I really would like to think that they weren't. I just don't. I think their focus in testing was more so on understanding their car instead of putting out the fastest laps. And even just looking at history of testing in the past years, they're never in the top. They're never top performers, and I think they're just more focused on understanding their car each year than going out and getting the top spot or the fastest lap in testing or even in practice, Yeah.
And I mean, I even heard some good points earlier on, like, they also have their engine in other cars. So just because they didn't put out the most laps, other cars on the field got a bunch of laps in during preseason testing. So they were still able to get some notes from those engine tests on those cars too. So I don't know. It's still up for debate, I guess, if they're sandbagging. We'll see at the end because, right now it's still the same top three winning the race. No really big surprise there. I mean, we got to see Norris in fourth, which was he had a fantastic race. Really fast car, McLaren.
Yeah, McLaren's coming in this season. It's going to be some big things to come from them.
Yeah, I totally agree. So then who was your driver of the day then? Who did you most enjoy? Who did you have your eye on?
Oh, I think from the beginning it was Sergio breaking down.
I mean, from even before the race even started.
I mean, you got to give it to him. So,
yeah.
Even last year, I think we became really big fans of Checo. He's been, in the game for a while, but
and never really had a good seat.
Yes, seeing his perseverance last year and the way that he really prevailed. I mean, he was, I think, number 4 in the Drivers' Championship last year.
He was.
Just a lot of really great things from him. And so I was over the moon, I think, when he got signed for Red Bull for this year, so that was great to see. And I think he's very humble, and he was disappointed with qualifying, so to see him come in and have a struggle from before he even was on the track, and then start from the pit lane, it's very impressive.
Yeah, I mean,
very impressive.
I honestly, I had him out. I didn't think
you thought he was going to DNF.
I did. I didn't think he was going to finish the race. I saw the power issue that he was having with the car. He almost attempted to pull the steering wheel off, and he didn't. He got the power back on the steering wheel and got that thing started and was able to get to the race. And then I even still said, I'm like, they're going to let him race. They're going to let him try and get there. And then if there's some issues, they're just going to retire the car. And I was wrong.
Yeah.
And that's fine that I'm wrong because I like to be wrong sometimes and be proven wrong.
He truly delivered.
Yeah, he did. And that, and that's why he is probably my favorite racer right now. Although just to contrast your driver of the day, I'm going to go with Yuki Tsunoda. I thought rookie driver getting points, pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And he's been pretty impressive even in preseason testing and in practice this weekend. And I think he's going to give some people a run for their money, especially in the midfield.
Him and Gasly are going to be a good team. I'd be surprised we don't see them doing some great things this season. Bummer to see Gasly.
Yeah, Gasly didn't have the best start, had some issues, and I didn't get to really watch his race because he was kind of in the back of the pack for most of the race. We want to talk about some rookies then, since I'm talking about Tsunoda. What do you think about Schumacher, Mick?
Well, I mean, he had a spin.
He did.
And, but it's his first race, and I think, he's super humble. He's got a lot of great things ahead of him, and, I think we expected Haas to be towards the back end, just given their car situation.
You're right.
And, they're focused more on 2022, but, excuse me. But, I thought he delivered right where we expected him to be.
No, you're right, and I think he's still going to learn. In previous Formula 2 and Formula 3, it took him a little bit of time to get used to the car and get up, but then he became an F2 champion, and I think he'll slowly be giving people a run for their money once that car gets better underneath him. So we'll see him in next year and things like that. The other rookie, Mazepin, I guess I had the highlight of him for today was that he caused us to have a restart. And
he caused the first yellow flag at the first corner.
Yeah.
So I think it was the same yesterday.
And then if you go on social media, and people were happy about that. I'm not going to comment on it, whether,
We don't have much to say, but, definitely, I mean, Max had a great start. Did that have a factor into Lewis catching up and being able to overtake him?
Yeah, maybe. You might be right. I don't know. You might be right.
Yeah.
So after today's race, are you able to predict a winner of the season, or how do you think the season's going to go?
Well, I think the season is going to be exciting. If today was the first race and just the amount of action that there was throughout. I mean, there was times where you couldn't even keep up with who was in what spot. There was so much changes going on in the midfield. So, which is what we want.
We do.
Of course, we want Lewis to, well, I do. I can't speak for Alex, but I want Lewis to win another championship. But, I think
so she's saying it here now, episode 1. Wants Lewis Hamilton 8
world titles.
Titles. So that means they win the Constructor Cup too then.
I mean, it all depends on how Valtteri does.
I guess.
But I do think that, looking at Mercedes, I think that they're the better performing team, and I think they're going to continue to make that car, fine-tuned like they always do, and then they dominate. So we'll see. I think it'll be a closer race. I don't think, they're going to blow it out mid-season like they typically do, in the past, just given the changes with the cars. But I do, think Mercedes will come out on top again this year.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny that. I'm rooting for Red Bull, rooting for Max, rooting for Checo, of course. But the battle is on. It's going to be a good season. With that being said, we're going to take a quick break for our sponsors. And if you guys want to become a sponsor, your ad can go right here, right now. Check it out.
Growing up with IBS really took a toll on my social and personal life. I couldn't hang with my friends. I felt alienated. That's when I realized enough was enough. So I consulted my doctor, and he suggested I take Asblastin. It's 8 medium-sized capsules, taken a few times a day, and that was enough to offer me relief. And now I feel like a winner. And if you want to hit the jackpot, instead of sitting on the pot, consult your doctor today and get Asblastin.
Asblastin is still not approved for human consumption.
Oh man, Asblastin. That's a great spec ad from my director friend, Jake Huber. And I thought it was kind of fitting for our next topic and the topic of this first episode. In the first episode or maybe second episode of the new season Netflix Drive to Survive Season 3, we got to see Valtteri Bottas's ass. So I just wanted to play that commercial because I thought it was kind of funny and fitting. But keeping on the Drive to Survive show, what do you think of the show, Eileen? Do you like the show? Do you enjoy the show? Did it make you want to become more of a fan, less of a fan? Thoughts?
Well, I mean, I think we enjoy the show. I enjoy the show. And it's exciting going into it. You're like waiting because obviously it's in between of season to season. So it's kind of like, oh my God, we have Drive to Survive last week. Let's watch it in one day.
Binge, for sure.
And just kind of like expecting, everything that happened in the previous season. It's good entertainment, I think. They pick and choose what they're going to edit, obviously, into it. And, what's going to really capture the viewer's attention more, especially for people who maybe aren't F1 viewers.
Do you think it's doing a good job to be getting?
I think it's definitely getting, even for us in America, getting, more people to want to watch racing, more people to be excited about it, and just to see how much goes into it. I mean, wow, there was a lot that happened in 2020. I mean, just looking back, even in retrospect,
It was a crazy year for everybody, everyone.
And just how many races there were, jam-packed into such a quick turnaround. So, yeah, it was great. I think there's a little fabrication and, some things just for the drama to kind of capture you in and, make you want to watch more. But, that's the name of the game, right? It's showbiz.
Yeah. So, I guess, do you think the drama is real or fake on the show?
Well, I think there's a little bit of fake drama that might be, there's some competitiveness, like Carlos and Lando having a bromance, and all of a sudden it's almost portrayed that they're like frenemies. And of course, when they get on the track, it's a different story, but they were thick as thieves.
They were, and we laughed at all their stuff online all the time. They had some great
YouTube
stuff.
videos.
Yeah.
There's a lot of funny things, and even the drama with Mercedes and Red Bull and how ridiculous it was portrayed. And I'm sure that there's some competitiveness going on that we don't see on camera, but they really portrayed that.
Yeah, and I love the show. I'm a big fan of the show. I've watched every episode. I've lost track of how many times I've watched the episodes. Fake drama for sure. Definitely trying to make it more television friendly, and maybe they missed a couple of actual dramas that could have happened, like Russell being in a Mercedes car, being in first, having some punctures. That race in Bahrain, which was or Shakir last year,
the double stack.
Yeah, and that they didn't really highlight that, and it was more about the Sergio Perez aspect of it from last year. And I can see that. I also agree with the whole Romain Grosjean accident in the show. They almost make you feel like the accident. He's inside that fire for minutes, but in all actuality, it was a lot less time, and he came out alive, which was amazing to see how an impact like that can happen, and he can walk away.
Yeah, it was wild.
And I love the fact that the show was able to highlight and talk about it, but they kind of dramatized the whole accident and made it really longer than what it really was. And
it was a long time. I mean, he was in there for at least a minute, which when you think about that,
it's an eternity.
Horrendous.
Oh, for sure.
Horrendous. I mean, I don't think we certainly can't speak to what that's like. So obviously,
not a clue.
that was a scary race. I remember watching it. You were at work, and I was like, I got to tell you what's going on, and I don't care that I'm about to ruin it. But it was definitely scary, and it just goes to show you how serious the sport is. So.
Yeah, you're right. Do you think you're fully committed or a fully sent?
Fully sent. For what?
Into F1. Did you fully send it this year? I mean, last year you were into it, and as last year went, she got more and more into it. At first, she just wanted to watch the races because I guess I was probably watching the races, and she's she loves me. Mm-hmm. So, but as it got on, I was gone for travel for work, and she would be watching stuff live. And again, I'd be getting mad because she'd be sending me memes and all these things and spoiler alerts. And I'm like, come on, I'm going to watch the replay as soon as I get home. Don't tell me nothing. And
real fans schedule their lives around the race.
You're right, and maybe that's where we're going to. I'm trying to figure that out right now. You're right, and I really am fully in love with F1, and so much so that we started a podcast.
Yeah,
and
we talk about it. I think this is probably our biggest topic outside of our typical lives that we do talk about it.
Yeah. So I guess that really wraps up the show. If you guys have questions, want to ask us anything, subscribe, ask us stuff. We'll try to answer them. We're going to keep coming out with other episodes after every race. The next race is in 2 weeks in Imola, and I'm very excited for that because last year was its first year in Imola in a long, long time. And I can't wait.
Go Mercedes.
So that's it. So again, subscribe, whatever it is that you have to do down there. That's it. Bye.